George M. Bailey, Lieutenant Commander, USN, retired. Well, they sent me to, I guess, the first available ship, which happened to be the Sidney Sherman. And when I found out where my ship was, I knew what kind of ship it was. It was an old Liberty, which didn't mean anything, but it was at Hog Island, Philadelphia, which was an ammunition depot, and the ship was an ammunition carrier. And but it was very interesting. I was young, didn't know anything different, so it was pretty good. The ship, our first trip, we had engine problems, and the convoy went on without us. And we waited there. We finally got it ready to go, and we beat feet back to the convoy because we didn't like being out there by ourselves. And they weren't very impressive. The old Liberty ship wasn't very impressive. But, you know, the quarters were nice. There were 2, 4, 6 of us, I guess, in the cabin. And there were 27 of us all together. Well, we left New York, went to the Mediterranean, and another trip we went down into South Africa, where they told us to wear civilian clothes so people wouldn't know we were in the Navy, and we covered up the guns. You know, canvas over the gun, they wouldn't know we were Navy. Went to Mozambique, and went up to Saudi Arabia, and we were very fortunate. While we were in Saudi Arabia, Aramco hired us, the sailors, to oversee the offloading of their stuff. So I guess they got a check, I forget how much, maybe $50, that was a lot of money, a month's pay. The part that wasn't as much fun is when before we entered, we got out of the Red Sea, and before we entered in the Indian Ocean, a naval officer came aboard. He was the liaison officer from their country there. He said, there were 7 ships sunk in the past X number of months, and the only thing I can do is give you these. He gave us all a Navy missile to read so we know where we were going. That was a real morale booster. But, you know, we laughed about it, that's all. Of course, we're always very vigilant anyhow. Well, you have your watches, and yeah, you're looking for submarines and aircraft. And when we got to the Med, they had a British anti-aircraft cruiser get in the middle of the convoy, and you could watch his thing and see if he was doing anything. But I guess the thing that bothered me a little bit is I was sitting on the mess deck listening to Winston Churchill saying we have done away with the submarine forces in the Mediterranean when we lost one about that time. So I figured, well, he didn't get the information. But it wasn't scary as such, but it made you very vigilant and wary. You didn't go to sleep on duty like some people could, I guess. You just stayed vigilant. Our ship wasn't hit. Another ship was hit. But you go into general quarters, and again, you hear the same story. Oh, other people are going to pick those people up. Don't worry about that. And as you get older, you wonder. Yeah. And when we were in Naples, we had to come out every night. We'd get underway because the Germans were coming in bombing the piers. And I know they were doing it because when we come back the next day, the ship ahead of us got it. And contrary to popular belief, we had things on the ship, on the main deck, that we were told that if they get strafed, go over the side. But that didn't work too good for the people who the ship was hit, and it was mustard gas in the water. I don't know if that's common now, but that was about the time of Anzio. You know, things were really hot. It's funny, I met a guy from Philadelphia, and I talked to the gunnery officer, and he said, yeah, I could let him come take my place on his ship, and I'm going to ride around with him in the tank. We were going merrily down the road, and they see this bomb laying in the road. And he gets up next to it, and he nudges it to push it off the road. I figured, I had enough of this army stuff. But we were aware of what was happening in Italy itself. I don't know, I guess he was down there on a pier, got talking, and if the supply guy is still listening, I gave him a crate of eggs. Eggs were going for about $1 or $5 a piece at that time. He was very happy, took that back to his command. And it was funny, we took a young boy aboard, dressed him up, gave him shoes, and gave him clothes. And it was, the people were just so bad off. I came across this group I was again walking on a pier. I came across a group of kids, and they were very disappointed. They had found this crate with cans in it, and they said, I gathered from them they thought it was oil. What it had on there, peas. So I opened one and showed it to them. They were happy young sailors, I'll tell you. But it was very devastating to see how these people, you know, what do they know? They're 8 years old. But all in all, it was good, a good trip. We thought we were, I guess we all thought we were invincible at the time. Greater concern was from below, because from air, like one time we could see the planes heading over to hit their whatever in Africa. And the gunnery officer said, well, in X number of minutes they'll be back and we'll be ready for them. And what they did normally was dump whatever they didn't use on the ships that they saw. But the submarine was really tougher, but you never knew. No way of knowing. They had what they called torpedo nets that you put over the side. The bad thing about it, you could only do about 8 knots when you had these things over the side. And if you see one of them jerk, you know you just missed one. Yeah, I remember that. The aircraft were, you know, you could see them, you knew what they were doing. We tried to keep them from going close. I would say they came close. But, had a bad thing happen there at Anzio that they knocked down a couple of our own paratroopers. But that we knew what we were doing. But sometimes it was just one plane would come in and he'd target the ships at the pier.